China, a vast land with one of the most diverse cultures on Earth, now revealed like never before. This epic journey from the air will discover how ancient traditions, engineering, agriculture, and natural wonders shaped this great nation and continue to forge modern-day China. After centuries in seclusion, China is now revealed. China, a land of nearly 1.4 billion people. 92% are Han Chinese. But across its 3.6 million square miles, there are 55 other ethnic groups, speaking 120 living languages. This aerial journey will cross China's immense interior of mountains and deserts, mighty rivers and great forests, to reveal a hidden culture of great complexity, only now opening up for the world to see. In the far southwest, bordering Myanmar and Laos, is Sichuan-Bana, known for its great river. Home to the ancient Dai people. They observe a different calendar to the rest of China, and in April, celebrate their own version of the New Year in a unique way. The festival all revolves around water, at this, their hottest time of the year. It all begins with an epic 2,000-year-old dragon boat race.
I am 曼听村的埃洪行。现在我们准备去那个江边1年1度的那个划龙舟比赛。我们这个村子里面的船，应该是可以说是比赛船里面最长的，差不多可以坐100多个人。然后今年我们力争拿到第一，打败去年的第一，拿到第1名。
The whole festival kickstarts in a distinctly Chinese way, with a bang. First prize is given to the fastest boat. And that can be achieved with great rhythm and style. You could call it showboating.
全部听那个敲锣的指挥，一响一划嘛，就是锣声一响就划一下，要不然就全乱了。
Unfortunately, this year, Yan's boat was on the losing side.
明年我一定会来，因为这个划龙船应该说是每个傣族男人都应该参加的。
The festival continues the next day with the main event, perhaps the most epic water fight on Earth. Some 100,000 people gather here for the battle you could say is the ultimate Waterloo. Soaking your opponents on this grand scale has a religious basis. It's to wash away the sorrows of the past year and welcome the new. A tradition handed down for 900 years. By dusk, the sorrows of the previous year have been well and truly washed away. As night falls, the mighty Lancang River is host to one final ritual. Lighting lanterns has long been a Chinese tradition to ward off ghosts. Far to the north, in Songshan Mountain, is one of the most iconic Buddhist monasteries in Asia. Buddhism wasn't always about peaceful meditation. More than a millennia ago, its priests had to learn how to defend themselves in China's warlike past. According to legend, this secluded monastery is not only the birthplace of Zen Buddhism. Here trained the legendary Shaolin monks. This 1,500-year-old fusion of Kung Fu and religion is kept alive by an elite order of monks that inspired over 100 martial arts movies. And it still attracts Kung Fu apprentices from all over China.
今年18岁了，然后来自是安徽。我是13岁加入少林寺。我小时候有想过，想成为少林寺一员武僧。
The origins of the order are lost in legend. But it's believed the first 2 Chinese disciples to join the monastery brought martial arts skills with them. Those skills were blended with Buddhism, and Shaolin Kung Fu was born.
少林功夫呢，和其他武术门派功夫不同之处，它就是有了禅在里面。那么禅呢，就所谓的思维修，所以是内在的。
This balance between mastery of the mind and body made the monks a key fighting force during the Tang dynasty. Helping Emperor Li Shimin to seize the throne in the early 7th century.
就是你练一些东西，感觉都不想练了，没办法，你还得继续去练。 我一定要练好，比过那些师兄师弟们。
这众多师兄弟里边，他表现还是比较不错的，因为他特别的吃苦。
Today, Yan Fei has a crucial assessment. Sparring with his weapons master, he must prove proficient with the complex San Jie Gun, also known as the triple stick. He's already failed this once before.
我起初练三节棍也有过很大的困难。刚练的时候是他在打我，不是我在打他，也不是我在玩他，是他在玩我。对，然后就是日积月累，每天练都练好了。
In the end, Yan passes this most demanding of tests with flying colors.
有一句话，中国有句俗话这样：“师傅领进门，修行在个人嘛。”我只是能告诉他，教他。
Shaolin's legacy is monastic dedication and focus. Today, this ancient fighting tradition is not just part of Chinese folklore, but has seeped into Western popular culture too. Shaolin monks are the inspiration for countless books, comics, and movies, like the Jedi Knights of Star Wars. China's 244 million Buddhists, the world's largest population, have a long history in Chinese culture. This is symbolized best by the Leshan Buddha, an immense statue carved from a mountain that took nearly a century to complete. In the southwest province of Sichuan, the soft red sandstone of the region became the foundation for one of the great ancient wonders of China. The 1,200-year-old Leshan Buddha. At 233 feet, 4 times the height of the Mount Rushmore carvings, it's the world's largest Buddhist statue. It took 3 generations of workers an incredible 90 years to chip away at a mountain and complete this colossus. The middle finger alone is the height of a 3-story building. But why was this exceptionally large monument to Buddha built here?
这一坨大佛是，它是在山江汇流的地方，这个水形成了个大的漩涡。以前啊，这里边就是经常打烂船啊、安船啊，造成船毁人亡的这种情景，所以海东河长就在灵隐寺的这个对面就修了个大佛。
Carved to watch over and provide protection for travelers and sailors, this edifice succeeded, but not by design. During excavation, millions of cubic feet of stone were dumped into the water, which inadvertently changed the course of the river, making it safer. This millennia-old engineering feat was built at a time when this ancient economy was booming too.
每一个时代有每一个的不同的福相。唐代了，它的社会是非常发达的一个社会，经济非常发达，生活非常富裕。人呢画得比较肥胖，比较端庄肥胖一些，这就是唐代的特点。所以我们这个大佛呢，它也有传达的有这个特点。
400 miles away, deep in the heart of the Hunan province, is another epic holy site. But this time, formed without human hands. A natural formation shaped by the area's unusual geology. Tianmenshan, known as the Heaven's Gate Cave. To get here, you must first drive one of the world's most dangerous roads, the Tongtian Highway. Marked by 99 sharp bends. In just over 6 miles, it climbs over 3,000 vertical feet. The first stop, the mountain forests of Zhangjiajie. Thousands of precarious peaks reach up to 3 times the height of the Empire State Building. It's a breathtaking mystical scene that provided inspiration for the alien landscapes of the movie Avatar. A wonder of geology that draws people from all over the world. To cope with the 30 million annual visitors, the Chinese have built the world's highest outdoor elevator. The 100 Dragons lift ascends a vertiginous 1,000 feet to the top of the jutting stones.
我们这儿看到呢，这是一层那个石英砂岩，是比较坚硬的那层。下面的这一层呢，它是比较软的一层。张山镇，这个地貌呢，就是由于这样一些两种岩型，一层一层的堆叠起来的。
To reach their final dramatic destination, the class catches the world's longest cableway, a heart-stopping ride, more than 4 miles long. And then they climb 999 steps to reach, at last, their final destination.
这就是张家界最美的景点前门洞。
This epic natural feature was seen to be a gateway to paradise.
其实世界上的天绳桥的类型很多啊，它的高度，这个是在世界上也都是非常少见的。经过了自己的努力和爬涉，看到了这样这个美景，我觉得这是最愉快的一件事情。
One great structure that didn't rise naturally from the earth is China's Great Wall. This 13,000-mile barrier was built by Chinese hands to protect the people from invading armies. China wasn't always the peaceful nation it is today. Once upon a time, it was all-out war between competing ethnic groups. It was destined to be a nation at constant war with itself, until one man decided to build the world's largest man-made structure, the Great Wall of China. The longest man-made structure on Earth runs from the Pacific Ocean to the Gobi Desert. Laid out, its individual sections stretch for 13,000 miles, longer than the length of North and South America combined. In 221 BC, the first emperor of China decided to stop the constant conflict by uniting the country against foreign invaders. He ordered existing and scattered fortifications to be connected into one great wall.
长城的一些作用，还有在现代来说基本上就没什么作用，但是在古代是一个比较有防御性质的一个战争的堡垒，然后感觉到那种长城的伟大。
Today, the horde still descend on the wall, 10 million annually. But the vast majority are Chinese tourists. As a local saying goes, one who fails to reach the Great Wall is not a true man. From all corners of the country they come to pay tribute to an ancient feat of engineering that shaped their nation.
在这个中国万里长城，全世界人都比较知道，更让中国人自豪啊，也更让我们身为工作者在长城上班的人感到自豪。
145 miles west, in Shanxi province, Another monument to China's living past is hanging on. Clinging to this cliff for 1,500 years, the Hanging Temple of Hengshan. While millions visit the Great Wall, at any one time, only 80 people are allowed inside this temple. But why did the ancients build a temple that could be dashed on the rocks below? Superstition.
它这个地方经常发洪水的，但是人不留神就让上就给卷走了。这也是传说，说有些老百姓呀，在这儿建一个寺庙吧，让佛的力量来保护我们，平平安安的走过去。
246 feet above the canyon floor, it was built beneath an overhang to shelter it from the elements. Horizontal and vertical foundations were hand-chiseled into the mountain, and a grid of hardwood beams inserted to support 3 buildings and more than 40 rooms.
这个悬空室为了它这个延年益寿啊，我们现在啊，本来悬空室现在登记人数太多了，我们想保护的办法呀，想是减少登记人数。
Protecting the site from its own popularity is a seemingly impossible task. But Chang Shuiwen is undaunted.
这个悬空寺啊，伴随着我一生啊，我觉得我取了很多的成绩，在工作上，在生活上，都是离不开这个悬空寺。
Passing down centuries-old knowledge has been critical to China's incredible population growth. Feeding the growing millions over the centuries was only possible due to ancient engineering projects still used today for the nearly 1.4 billion who call this country home. It's the great Chinese riddle. How do you feed more than 1 billion people? Only 11% of the country can be used to grow food. Over the centuries, those living in the remotest places have had to come up with ingenious methods to make the most of the land. Turpan, home of the Uyghur people. Seen from the air, it's a dry and desolate desert, dotted by thousands of mysterious pockmarks. Holes that lead to a 2,000-year-old subterranean system that's longer than the length of India. The Suez Canal Network. 1,000 horizontal wells have been sunk into the earth and then connected by canals over 3,000 miles in length, directing water from the Tian Shan mountain glaciers 100 miles to the north to their fields and villages. It was cutting-edge ancient engineering that still works today, irrigating a land that would otherwise be a giant dust bowl. It's not just about clean drinking water. Incredibly, this desert produces tons of grapes annually. Without the canals, the Uyghurs' major export would wither on the vine. and the true scale of production is revealed from the air. They may look like honeycomb, but these mud brick blocks are used to air dry millions of grapes into raisins. Without modern materials and technology, the ancients triumphed, turning nature to their advantage. 1,533 miles away in southeast Yunnan, the locals had their own agricultural mountain to overcome. How to grow China's greatest staple, rice. Here there's plenty of water, but stopping it draining away is the problem. 1,300 years ago, the local Han people miraculously transformed the landscape. To grow their crops, they hand-carved rice paddies into the mountains to trap the water.
Kalau makwe, tono menyo oza patimo no adu zami zahe age he chumo timo no kfule timo boa.
Rising above 6,000 feet and spreading over 386 square miles, larger than the size of New York City, the terraces harness the power of the mountain's natural ecosystem.
To tite ujumo hame pulanyo tite ujumo no adu penshi mukhe mo jawala. Penshi mukhe le molo adu hete le pula adu hanyi na hete uju hebi hete. Ujulo ipapala imene sabi ko le adu adong mo kede mo te kholo mala uju hete mo te kholo ma.
It acts like a giant recycling machine. The water evaporates from the river valleys to form fog and cloud. The clouds are then trapped by the mountain forests, and then rain falls and flows back down through the terraces in a never-ending cycle.
Anu pahal timo katsijale la. To anu polo titelo katsijale to adu halu de no titemo utumo ma bigo le no holo. Halu le ochi o hamali adu se khe la o hamaji peki titeme jese ya就是adu la wa cho asu ko sun de mo mo da adu ipo bija tite jo mo la de ima ka jo la nga tengo adu no ko pone se yi bi mu la mo adu mu da ne ele bi fa za mo le no ala ko lo ele nga ele mo.
This type of wet field agriculture was invented in China. And using these ancient farming traditions passed down through the generations is how China feeds the biggest population on Earth. Xiapu County on the East China coast has traditionally been home to a fishing community. But here, some have turned to farming a crop that doesn't grow on land, but well below the waves. A seaweed called giant kelp. In the warm waters of the East China Sea, the kelp is grown through the winter, and then in spring, hung to dry on bamboo poles before being harvested.
今年那个海带就是因为雨水太多嘛，普遍雨水多，然后就是海带烂掉了。今年收成跟往年要差了1/3吧。
Despite this year's rain adversely affecting the drying process, the industry is booming. As a food source, kelp, a rich and sustainable crop, is in demand. For the ex-fishermen of Siapu, the returns justify the back-breaking work. For the country, it's a way to feed the ever-growing masses without using the overpopulated land. In some parts of China, farming wasn't an option. So they turned to training wild animals to catch food. In the far northwest province of Xinjiang, Qinghil County, building rice terraces is not an option due to the climate. In this rugged landscape, food is scarce, made worse by the harshest of winters. To survive, the local Kazakhs depend on a tradition more than 1,000 years old. To do something most would imagine impossible. To train a wild eagle to hunt.
Қай жақта маңызды деген жаңағы құстың өзі әртүрлі өзім көтергендегі өзімнің құс көтергендегі негізгі тәжірибемді үйретіп жатқан. Құсты баптауы мысалы. Отырғызу, қою, алып жүруі осы секілді нәрселер. Енді мен де өзім әкем сөйтіп үйретіп кеткен. Енді өз ұрпағыма өзі балада мен де әкем құсап сол өзі білгенді білдіріп үйретіп кетсем деген арманым ғой.
The golden eagle, one of the world's most effective birds of prey. They can spy a rabbit at 2,000 yards and dive at 150 miles per hour, the speed of a bullet train. And its talons grip with 10 times the force of a man's hand. Catching their food in this ingenious way has kept small villages from destitution. But it also helps to protect a species that's now endangered. Mature adults are released back into the wild, an act that resonates with the Kazakh belief that eagles are a symbol of freedom, and their numbers in the region are reportedly once again on the rise. It isn't just growing food that's a trial of ingenuity in some parts of China. It's just living there. 1,700 miles southeast in Yunnan province is the Three Parallel Rivers National Park. Here, Asia's three greatest rivers run side by side, creating a spectacular landscape. From alpine peaks to steamy valleys, it's a beautiful but challenging place to live. But the local Lisu people have been living here for more than 1,000 years, adapting to living around these giant natural barriers.
Ngali phali budu ma jo thema le nga gali da ni to shuna ato photo che da ni la ni chen ni thema de hi ma ni thana ti shit du ma jo.
Here, taking a trip to the market is not as simple as it seems. It involves a death-defying slide. Zip-lining across several hundred feet of wild rapids doesn't bother 60-year-old grandmother Pooh, as she's been doing it all her life. This ingenious method, now replaced with modern steel cable, is the fastest way to make it across. and a thrilling ride over the dangerous rapids.
一只20块。一只20块。
At the market, Grandmother Pooh is rewarded with a quick sale. Life is very tough here. It's a world away from modern city life that her grandson may one day, like millions of others, decide to join. And for Grandmother Pooh, zip-lining to and from the village is one of life's small pleasures. The Chinese people aren't just good at taming the landscape to their needs. The Kazakh people were among the first humans to tame wild horses, which they still do to this day. China's vast and varied land has helped shape a nation and its people. From the remote mountainous Hani to the multitude of Han in the cities of the East. From the Dai of the steamy South to the desert-dwelling Uyghur. China's culture and customs, hidden from view for thousands of years, are slowly being revealed to the world. In the farthest reaches of Xinjiang province is Jiaosu County, a land as remote as you could imagine, with huge expansive plains covering 4,000 square miles. This is the home of the Kazakhs. And it was here, 5,500 years ago, the Kazakhs began to tame wild horses.
Қазақ халқы негізінен осы тауда, жайлауда мал бағып өткен халық. Енді бұның ата тегінен енді сондай малшы болғандығы үшін малға ең алғаш бала туылғаннан кейін ақ 3 жас.
The Kazakhs have a millennia-old reputation for breeding some of Asia's best war horses. Today, the horses are bred and trained for the highly competitive annual event known as the Heavenly Horse Festival. This year, Tuolyu's son will be racing for the first time.
Мен сонша уақыт жаратқан кезде сол атымыз жарысқа қосқан делінсе деп сондай армандаймыз, сол басқа арман жоқ.
The endurance event is a grueling and even dangerous 3-day race.
Мен оған қоятын талабым менде осы маршрутта енді үздік бірінші нәтижені жете алмаса да ашқы аман есен сау саламат сол ел қатарында болып келсе деген арманым бар.
The race begins. On day 1, they cover 50 miles. And on day 3, they endure a testing 62-mile final leg. For Aniwaa and the Kazakh people, this is not just a race, but a chance to proudly display their horses and their skill, honed over centuries. After 62 miles in the saddle, he finally finishes towards the back of the field. But next year, he'll return with dreams of winning. Across the country, in the far northeast, people of Harubin aren't practicing an age-old tradition like the Kazakhs. they're creating their own history to pass on. Renowned as the Ice City in China, it can reach -38 degrees Fahrenheit in winter. Nearly 10,000 workers have been dragging and cutting giant blocks of ice from the frozen Songhua River. 550-pound ice cubes. This is a new festival, but based on a 17th century tradition when fishermen carved lanterns from ice. Over the next week, artists will race to transform this plentiful local resource into a giant frozen wonderland. The Harbin Ice and Snow Festival.
我们应该说享受这种，就是上帝赐予我们这种温度的乐趣，在冰雪之中，是吧？打开自己的胸怀，去拥抱全世界，对吧？
This event has grown into the largest ice festival in the world.
最大的挑战，第一就是我们的天气，因为我们现在工期非常紧，这样的话呢，所有的冰呢都是采自于松花江，这样你要温度厚度达不到，我们就没法建设。好在今天还好。 这每个景观都是好像孩子，像我的孩子一样，一点一点的看着他们长大的，就是完全是发自内心的，想把这个事情不单纯是一个工作，而想把这个冰雪大世界把它变成一个艺术的一个冰质的宫殿，展现给世界各地的游客。
Opening day is here. A city of ice has risen, covering an area the size of 150 football fields. But it's the night which sees the ice city in its full splendor. By standing on the shoulders of their ancestors, the Chinese have, through ingenious agriculture and engineering traditions, become a nation that's developed from a poor rural backwater to one of the fastest developing countries in the history of mankind. But what does the future hold for China on the threshold of the 21st century? How will China tackle modern issues of energy, pollution, and overpopulation? And how does a nation of nearly 1.4 billion people work and play?